Morning, everyone. I know it's been a little bit, but I'm still here. Still playing some MCP. Um, Today, we'll go over quickly three lists I have that are for different things, and then obviously we'll talk about what's coming, what's out there a little bit, just kind of what's the scene right now. So I do have an event this weekend, Nova Open. It is two heats of like 32. Not they're not all filled, but top four make it to the finals on Sunday. I'm in the Saturday heat. Excited to go. It's pretty local to me, though. Driving the DC sucks. Um, the big thing is it's painting required, so I get my models commissioned and I get them. It's not like super quickly because I want them to look good, and I don't know what I'm gonna play in person. So the point being is I'm very limited. I only have like 24 models painted. So um, we'll talk about the roster that I plan on taking there. It's still up for grabs, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to take this roster. It's kind of funny, fun. It's competitive, of course. Anything I'm going to play is going to be somewhat competitive, or it's going to be competitive. But unfortunately can't take like um, Midnight Suns, for example. Um, so just to really hit, I don't know if I spoke about this. I can't remember. I've made a couple of videos where I don't release them because I don't like the content, and there are some video ideas I have, especially around some tactical things that I just need to kind of make an outline for. It's harder to free form it just because I want it to be a little more structured. Anyway, uh, if I was going to take pure convo to the tournament this weekend, this would probably be the list I'd take. Um, no duels or anything. It's not even that different than what I was playing before. I think the biggest difference is Thor's there and Taskmaster's back in as another three for certain situations and being a tankier like extract grabber. Thor, I mean, it's to deal with some of these other Asgard teams, I guess. I know it's still not as good. Like even like Thor, Voodoo, Wong, um, a three is okay, I guess. Like, and this is of course this is the idea of pure combo. You can only do so much. I like. I'm not going to like splash the Asgard three in this. You could. It gets a little weird on the combo side. I think. I think you mainly need one or two more slots. You could try to fit Ancient One in for like Shang, and so you can go Ancient One Thor, Doctor Strange, or Ancient One Wong Thor Magic, and then you're four wide, and Wong can turn on Thor, and there's all these things. I haven't tested it. Like I've played this roster one time and I didn't use Thor. I've I've had Thor in my roster like 4 or 5 games that I never use him. I'm like always anti using him. I know why he's there, but I like in my mind I'm like, oh, he's kind of annoying, kind of a meta annoyance right now that I'm trying to avoid. But cards aside, you can. I'm playing with some cards, the last like books and Cheat Master. I did play with the double dip, and I did not get to use it, but there were certainly like plays where I almost got to use it, and it was almost really good. And I think there's something there on tight map. So this is the combo roster. I'm going to go pure combo. I haven't been playing them a lot lately, mainly because I've been playing Suns. I'm kind of just waiting for something to pop and be new in combo. So I think the way to put it is I love playing Convocation. Leadership's great. Models Strange is super fun. Blah blah blah. But I feel like I want something to like come and like get you excited again. You know what I mean? I think that the Asgard 15 is going to be a pain in the ass for them, potentially. Maybe if you get wider maps, you're fine. And it's just one of those like, it's not I think they're bad in the meta type thing. It's just, I've been playing them for over 100 games. Like, sure, cool, we get, they took away the books recycling, they took away essentially Ultron in a sense, and so we didn't get anything. So maybe the new Crisis changes. I mean, listen, I'm never gonna get rid of them, and I feel like with the Crisis changes and potentially new releases, maybe we get something. Maybe they do character updates. I don't know if they're planning some that changes like the landscape of things. But you know, I just want a little spark. I don't need the Defender treatment where it's like in 1 year they get like a million things and now they're all of a sudden super good. I don't need a million things. I just want a couple to change things up and bring me back. There'll always be. I wouldn't even say. I mean, I first played Sam, but I love these guys way more than Sam Avengers. So anyway, that's kind of what I would run if I had to, but I'm just not running them right now, just because I've been playing Suns and stuff. Let's go to the Sun list before I talk about Nova list. So this is the Suns roster. So it's called Odinsons, which is a funny name. I like it. So this idea first came. So I realized, well, I'm not going to take credit for it, to be fair. But I played a game in lunch meet. So I'm in a lunch meet now. I'm 3-1. I lost first round to Brady. And it was like down the middle demons. Was it 15? No, it was 20, but was it 20? Maybe it was 19. I guess I could have made it 15. The point being is, it was 19. I was like, this sucks. Like playing down the middle with Suns on some setups, it really sucks. And so I was like, I need to solve this problem because I hate this. And so I think it was Steve Crow. I don't know if he watches this, but Steve, if you're out there, he put the 3 Suns models into, or 3 Asgard models into Midnight Suns. And it fits really nicely because, you know, I had Angela, Craven, Hela. So I got sick of Hela. Collar and I will disagree there. Hela sucks to me. And I know she has some good uses. I just didn't like her. I think part of it is the way that I play, like, what Bill does is, like, the aggressive bump into extract stuff and kind of stay up there. I don't know. The point being is I didn't love her that much. I wanted someone a little tankier for how I played. So Bill was an easy. Like, I wanted that almost anyway. And so now you're talking Angela and Craven, and part of the commentary around Craven was, I like Craven, but at the same time, like, one, I wasn't using him as much as maybe I should, because he has his purpose is to, like, be very mobile and do damage, but he doesn't have as much as, like, a direct purpose, so sometimes when I threw him in, I should have thrown him in. I think the other reason is because you do have affiliated 3s that are pretty good. I would say iffy on Bast, but I am a little iffy on him. He's good. He's solid. He's a 3. You just let him do his thing. He has potential. He just hasn't hit that damn trigger on his spender yet. But, like, if you think about it, like, you compare your 3 to Craven, and they need to be... Craven not only needs to be better, which he probably is with his bump and stuff in some ways, but also, like, he doesn't get to play Siege. He doesn't get to play Bats if you have it. So, like, from that aspect where, like, you need to be better than that, right? Like, it's, like, 2 things. If you're going to be unaffiliated, you better bring something real special. And because Gwenom is, like, the first pick all the time, it was one of those cuts. I'm like, I don't know if we need him enough. I'll put it this way. If you were going all Midnight Suns, like, okay, all a pure Midnight Suns roster, I'd put him back in. But the loss of him is not that great for the duel, I guess. And so now you basically have the 7 Midnight Sun models. The 7 models we were always running. I mean, Bill was really in there. You could run Midnight Suns without Thor and Loki and have 8 spots and probably never bat an eye and be pretty good. I think 20 does feel a little weird, but maybe we can talk about that. And then you say, okay, there's this really good 15 out there. You know, Thor, Loki, Beta Ray. I mean, Loki could even be, I guess, Jane, depending on which one you felt was stronger in the meta. Or into those, and you say, okay, I'm going to just run these 3. All right, Beta Ray Bill is great in Midnight Suns. He's a safe grab. He's tanky. In fact, every one of these Asgard models are safe grabs in Midnight Suns because they all have 2 power, and there are, you know, 1's a long mover, 2 are medium-based medium movers. And so that's kind of cool. But really, it's to have a 15. Yeah. I do, and we'll talk about the Crisis in a second. The other thing would be, yeah, but I haven't played it yet. I probably should have played it one game, or I was doing in testing. I think I'm very anti Asgard somewhat, and it's just here for specific situations. And but at the same time, if you put something in for a situation, when that situation comes up, you have to just do it, right? Like that's probably the point that is a little like rough for me. Is just like getting over that hump of, all right, I should be playing it now, even though you feel bad in some sense of it, right? Like you feel guilty, which I can fairly say I do sometimes. Um, that being said, there's still some cool rosters like where Thor can be in. Like I think like Blade, Iron Fist, Wong, Thor, Gwenom is a cool 19, depending on the map. You know, or if it's 20, going Thor, Gwenom, like either the 2 3s and Blade, because like Thor is still very good with bump. Um, Gwenom we know is good with bump, but Thor is good with bump because uh, kind of all the reasons. I mean, when I talked about convocation, I didn't talk about it, but like, so from a reactive standpoint, all of Thor. Did I ever make a video on this? Did I? Maybe I didn't release it. Did I not do it? I don't remember. I know I talked about it once, but like everything Thor does is like range 6 or 7 ish, right? His self throw is 7 inches. His long throw is a little over 7 inches, and his attack is 6 inches. So if he's attacked by range 4, which is 8 inches, he's out of range of everything, and he's going to have to do something to get himself closer. So whether it's the Convo reactive bump or the active bump in Midnight Suns, it gets him to do, like, it pushes him an extra 3 inches forward. And not only is it kind of cool for just if somebody hits you at range 4, you can start getting closer and do all your shit to them. But also, like, if you're in the mix of things, it's a move that can either happen before or after the pounce, and it can either set up the pounce if somebody's blocking you, or it can, like, if you're having trouble with an angle to like hit somebody with a pounce and then maybe hit somebody else or get on a objective, you know, having that mobility in there can be really nice. So I do think he pairs well with the leadership, and I think there are 15s. I think Leaf kind of showed this one where if you're on something like Sword and you don't want to go the Loki, Thor, Beta Ray, Bill 15, 3 wide on Sword, you could go like Blade, Thor, Panther, Wong, I guess. And, you know, Wong does turn on Thor turn 1. You have 4 models, you have bumps. I think there's something where like Thor medium move plus bump hits anybody on a opposing sword, so you can like really get it going turn 1 even without Wong. You can play Danny there. There's some cool, you know, card wise. I mean, you only really need the first 6 cards to play Suns. Like, those are the only cards I play. I don't ever take any other cards, so you basically have 4 card slots open for others. Survival will be coming in at some point, so something will drop for Survival. I don't know which one particularly. Maybe Giant's Blood. I know it's good. I mean, you're basically going to take Brothers in Arms and Odin's Blessing for the Asgard side. I like Sack still over Patchup. I know Patchup is probably better in the pure 3 wide Asgard, but I hate that card, and I think there's more funny things you can do with Sacrifice, and I play it more in the other teams. It probably gets rid of Giant's Blood because I think Trickster's Boon is kind of funny, even though you don't play it in the 15 because there's no one to do it to. It is kind of fun if you play like 18 down the middle with Iron Fist, which I guess it could happen, because if Iron Fist has how many power? He doesn't need any power. If Iron Fist starts to turn with 0 power, he's going to gain 2 from normal power. You can flying kick somebody to get 3, and then you can Trickster's Boon him and activate somebody right away. So, like, the fact that the activation, assuming Loki has enough power, is, like, always in play to some extent is kind of funny. I think that's kind of cute. That's really it. But yeah, I think probably the most like random thing in this from a Midnight Sun side is Loki. Like, I think Thor is fine in Suns even if you don't go dual. Loki's probably the one that I would never play outside of. But you know what? Maybe I should. Maybe he's fine, and I should test him more because he is a safe grab. He is like weirdly annoying. He's whatever with bump. Um, I just sometimes get very anti playing some things. So survival is going to be really fun. I don't think it's going to be. I don't know. I'm not going to make a hot take claim on that because it could be broken. It could not be. I think a lot of people are going to play it. I think it's going to come up. My biggest reason for taking it is I think it's pretty good on Iron Fist because so he gets 2 power a turn. So if you like go in with Danny or somebody goes in on him and they die, a lot of the times he has like 10 power when he wakes up because you know if he generates 2 the first turn, depending on how much he's bumping and whatnot. But let's just say he has 10 power and he's dazed and they get to go. You could survival him. And so now it kind of becomes a little weird for the enemy because sometimes, let's say you survival something, right? Um, if you survival something, the enemy, and it's really one of your tanky boys or something, the enemy might just go with not their biggest guy and say, all right, I'll wait till you can't do it anymore. Iron Fist basically says, you can't kill Iron Fist and he can activate somebody. So you better go with somebody good or else he's potentially going to activate. So yes, he's on 7 power, but depending on where he is on the map, he could flying kick to the enemy and then get the 8 power and fist them. The other thing that's kind of cool is Heroes for Hire is one of the cards that you can be played with survival because your friendly model's playing it and not Iron Fist. So you could essentially, if depending on if you're in a bubble or something, the enemy could maybe not attack anybody because you could always Heroes for Hire the attack. You can't take damage. They get thrown away. And maybe you even position yourself to flying kick off that person who you threw away and then activate somebody behind them. So there's a lot of like weird shit like that can happen. I mean, even the survival into Heroes for Hire play is fine. Like, even if you don't have the power to do the big kick afterwards, you can still like make stuff happen. But anyway, excuse me. This is the Midnight Suns roster I changed to after I lost the first round, and I've been playing it since then, and it's been going well. Still haven't played the Asgard version, so let's go to the Nova list. So this is my Nova list right now. So the idea here is I have only certain painted models, and I also so like for example, I don't have Dynamo painted, so he could never come in. I had a bunch of Vanders painted back in the day. I didn't get to use them a ton, but part of the reason here is maybe thinking of the idea that, okay, I don't think I can reliably beat the Asgard 15 with the pure Convo. Here's the statement I make to people, and I don't have the Asgard 3 painted for this event. I won't have Loki painted, so I'd be screwed. I don't have a leader painted, and I'm not painting it myself for just this event. My commentary is I don't want to lose to a bad player playing Asgard. And I probably have weakened myself potentially versus like Webs and Hellfire. Like pure, really good scenario. Though I think I can keep up on my combo. But I'm much less scared of a mediocre Webs player than I am a mediocre Asgard player. So I'd rather have the tools to deal with the people who run just like beat face stuff. And then sure, it's a little harder if I play like a mediocre, if I play Webs, it might be a little more difficult than what it normally would be with my convocation, though I think I have most of my tools. But I don't have to. Well, I think I can outplay them easier, and it's less like bowling Thor down the middle at me, stuff like that. So the idea with this list is say, all right, I'm going to take one. I also think it's cool. Like this is a list. If it wasn't Magic and Shang were Dynamo and Bill back in the day, and it's a list I actually brought somewhere called Black Magic, and it's a duel. But it's kind of cool because you can take Sam for like the fighty stuff, and then you have this convocation like for more like the Webs and stuff that maybe would give Sam trouble with the because they don't attack you type thing. Is the 15 of Hulk, Iron Man, Luke, Sam good enough to beat Asgard? I don't know. But I didn't talk about the Odinsons this real quick. I don't know. This could be demons. I've been playing Riots to see just because D-map, but this should probably be demons. And I've seen people take Researcher because you have the Asgard 15. It's probably more on the optimal side to play Researcher. I don't because I actively don't want to play the Asgard 3. I will not take a 15 Researcher myself, and it'll be more of a if I get on it, I'll play it type thing. Anyway, kind of the idea here is, and these aren't totally locked in. I'm still working through some of them. Like one of them might become Paranoia or something, and I'm not sure about Infinity. But the other thing is, I'm going to take all my extracts and secures are going to be anti-Asgard or anti like attrition in the sense that they're going to be very fast scoring, wide, annoying ones. And maybe that's why Scrolls should be. Well, Scrolls is probably fine, but maybe Scrolls should be Paranoia. To basically say, if I get caught on, Gamma. So, like, first off, I'm always going to try to avoid Researcher. Period. Like, the only chance we're playing on Researcher is if they picked their extracts. 2, I will pick my extracts otherwise. 2, because Gamma's easier for me. The other reason is Gamma scores a lot fast. Because if you think about it, if you get their Gamma, you're getting one of these extracts, right? And they're all fast. Again, Scrolls could be something else. But they're all on the faster side, and Gamma's decently fast scoring, especially because Asgard are 3 wide, so if they're near the middle, maybe Sam can like run to the back point and score their back point, and they won't see it coming type thing. Potentially. Stuff like that. You can throw, Hulk can throw people off and start scoring. Because if you think about it, like, it's probably not going to come down. It might not come down to everybody dying. If you can score 4 points a turn, then, and with Hulk going last on a Gamma, and with something like Senators or Spider Infected, like, it's a lot easier to score 4 a turn, and then maybe you just win the game that way. It also has some funny teams where Hulk can play in Convocation. You still have some of my basic Convocation plans I've talked about. You have a Helios option for some teams. Shang is good in both. It doesn't have like a 2 for Sam, but it could be Wong. It's not as good as Widow, but, Wong dying still provides leaderships. He turns on Shang turn 1. He can remove conditions from Hulk. Like, and defenders that do that, like, Hulk, Shang, Wong, Sam is a 15 that might not even be that bad. Like, you can turn on Shang turn 1. You don't get Cage and Iron Man, but, if somebody's going to sit on the back, it might not be totally horrible. I don't know. There's some cool things that this team can do. I'll pick I think the cards are locked in, and I just got to pick a couple Crisis. Because Scoundrels is happening, and I think Riots is going to happen again. People will say, well, Hellfire really good on Riots. Well, I've played the best Hellfire player and have beat him with stuff and come close. I'm pretty sure I can handle, in theory, most Hellfire players coming to Nova. I'm sure I could lose to him, but I'll take my chances on Riots than something down the middle or like Intrusions or something. But yeah, I'm excited. See, this is one where I'm like, listen, I always want to win. I'm excited to play this list because it's kind of cool. I still keeps the best part of combos I like, the rosters I like, but it gives me something on the scenarios that I don't like. I think the Midnight Suns is probably like air quotes stronger because it really takes one of the best 15s and then has a really strong wide plan, and Suns have been so fun to play. But we'll see what comes up. So these are the lists I've kind of, I'm playing this weekend. The Suns I'm playing in most of the online events, and I'll probably take it to an event in like 4 weeks, obviously depending on what gets released before them. We'll see what comes down the line. There's not really anything for Convo coming up, so unless the Crisis change comes with characters, it's just going to be that. There's no like seemingly wizard model coming out. Suns, on the other hand, seem to be getting something, and one model we'll talk about briefly will be the Werewolf by Night. So we don't know what his backside is. We just know I'm pretty sure we know he's a Midnight Suns, I think. He's a 5 threat, we'll go through him, and then I think we'll end the video there. Uh, okay, so he's 4'4", 275, medium base, medium move, size 3. Size 3 is actually nice, just because some of the displacement stuff won't work on him. He's a medium base, medium move, always good. Good big base for a bump, assuming he's Midnight Suns. 2 Mystic, whatever. I mean, it's sure. He has a 6 dice, range 3. I mean, that's on par. It has auto bleed. And a forced placement, if he on a wild, it's okay. That can bite you in the ass, but probably this model doesn't mind being jumped in, like as opposed to maybe something like I don't know, Squirrel Girl or something. I mean, it's a good builder. It's a 6 dice, range 3. It's nothing. It's on par with 5 threats. What they can do. Having auto bleed can be nice. Bleed is probably, I mean, it's good for Blade, obviously, but I think it is a little bit, even myself, an underrated condition because, like, it is a ping. It makes people think about it. Like, it's just annoying to have on, like, this weird extra damage, especially because it's auto. You might just feel like, okay, sure. You do it to somebody who hasn't activated yet, and it's twofold there, right? If they have 1 health left, it not only, sure, they still get to activate, but they're either staggered because of it or they let themselves die. And if they let themselves die, you're not like, they're still dying and you're not like screwing priority and stuff like that. It's just a little bleed synergy, I guess. Spender, okay, it's only range 2, 7 dice, 3 power. It's an auto size 3 throw. Never going to complain about an auto size 3 throw. And then if it's a hit, which is very likely on 7 dice. Bleed and Heck, great. 2 very good conditions. Again, bleed. Okay, bleed is whatever, but Hex is a really good condition to give on a big model. Just makes them very much easier later on. So I'd say his 2 attacks are fine. Nothing crazy. But it's got some movement and some conditions in there, and bleed, obviously, which is cool. Pounce. And we don't know. So the monsters are coming with like a new leader. We have no idea what they're doing. We don't know anything about them. So there could be tons of synergies and stuff there. So all I can talk about is what we got going on right now, which is Blade and the card. So it is nice that you can, what's it called? Siege of Darkness for the Savage Slash. I mean, it's one of the bigger attacks we have in the Siege turn right now. We have kind of like a weenie type thing, I guess, unless you take Eyehawk. And then, okay, let's see what he has. He has a Pounce. So we know Pounces are really good as a la Thor. So it's shorter, but it's fine. It's good. I mean, it's good. He's a size 3 Pouncer. No one's going to complain. He's very good. This guy is very good with power. Like, even though his attacks don't scream like dump power to do tons of damage, I mean, he still could. His other abilities are very good and spend power. So Pounce, I mean, okay, it is what it is. It's good, and he has the same advantage of bumping, and of course, being a Midnight Suns makes it easier to be affiliated and do all this cool shit. Unearthly Howl. So this is probably the best ability he has. Choose an enemy character within range 3 of this character. Roll 4 dice. They lose a power for every hit, crit, wild, so half the time, so average 2. And they get a condition slower root for each skull. So this is a good ability. A lot of the times you're basically trading power 2 for 2, and then you have the added bonus of like, okay, if you don't drain the power, you get a slower root, which is a great condition to give somebody. I mean, 2 power to auto root somebody is something that Firewall has, right? Firewall can auto do both of those. Of course, it has similarities to Firewall, but it's also different. Probably the biggest thing that makes this really bonkers good, and is that it's not limited to once per turn per character. It's only once per character. So you could get in the middle of enemy team with 6 power and say, I'm just going to do it to you, do it to you, do it to you. Maybe you drain 6 power for your 6 power and then give 2 people root or something. And if you hit it with both, right? If somebody has like, or a slow, like, it's just so obnoxious. And sure, you're gonna miss out on your power for the Savage Slap, the next one, which is basically a pounce. You know, it's basically an attack clapback for 3, which is pretty cool because I mean, a 6 dice attack is a lot, right? Like getting hit with a 6 die attack at range 3 back, and they can potentially and they'll bleed you, which is actually a big deal because like you're gonna get it, and then your activation will end, so it's like an extra pop damage there. Plus, and yeah, so if you hit him with your second attack and then he like does this back to you, that's actually a really funny interaction. Um, if somebody like with their second attack attacks him, or if they're thinking about it, like there's a chance where like the bleed damage could finish him off, which is kind of cute. Um, it's also really good because like he's actually a pretty good sack target because he has a big enough health pool. So like there's a world where you sack to this guy like a second attack, it hits him, he gets to attack whoever, you know, hopefully he has the power from taking damage or whatever. He gets to sack to some, you know, he gets to sack, he gets to hit somebody back, maybe even get the leap in to get next to him. And then if he gets to activate, he's healing factor 2 and he's probably going to heal most of the damage back. So like there's this thing of like, sure, he doesn't get exceptional healing, but you probably wouldn't take it just for him, though the other heal is pretty good. It's better on like large health pool models. Like I think of healing factor as just a bonus here. He's 7 something on the back. Healing factor 2, 7 health is not easy to take down in one go, especially with, you know, the clapback. Like, do you even want to double tap him? And with some of the defensive tech that we have. And so, it like, that's why X23 with that exceptional feels a little bit worse because taking down a 5 health model is a lot easier than taking down a 7 health model in one go, and so you get more value out of the healing factor is probably the way to put it. Yeah, I mean, his kit is just really fun. The Howl's probably the best thing on it, but besides that, you're getting an affiliated medium baser for bumps that have solid attacks, gives out conditions, and I mean, he gives out 4 different conditions on a fairly, I wouldn't say trivial, but like Unearthly Howl's only bad if you roll blanks and shields, right? And they're 3/8 of the dice, sure, but 5/8 of the dice sides are good for you, and you get 4 of them. There's a very good chance you get 3 positive results, whether it be a skull or draining power. I would actually be curious what the math on each one is. That's not hard math to do. I might do that math. Be like, what's the chance of like every outcome of like drain 3, drain 4, drain 2 with root, drain 2 with 2 conditions, stuff like that. But the fact that you can do it to multiple people. So he's a guy that like if he gets loaded with power, and then obviously with power, you know, he's decent at generating it with his which is 6 dice attack. He has we've talked about it. He looks really fun. Curious what his backside is. Is it just the same? Does he have 7 health? Does he have 8? Does he have 6? You know, does he get weaker? Is there something where it's like Werewolf by Day is what he's called on the backside, and he's like exceptionally weaker or something like that? Hopefully not. But we don't know what any of the cards are, what any of the Monster Hunter stuff is. That's just coming in the future. I'm not going to talk about Dracula because I heard he's definitely not Sons, but he does seem like a cool model, and maybe he'd be fun to play in the future as well. All right. Well, I'll let you know how the event goes this week, and thanks for listening.